Hi, this is Lang with Homeless in Modesto, and we're at Beard Brook Park. We're interested to understand what the feeling is around the transition to Gateway parcel that will be happening within a couple of weeks, we hear. With me is Jerri, and Jerri is a volunteer. She doesn't belong to any kind of category in terms of the official groups that have been out here or any of the organizations, but she spends her time since the beginning, I think. So, Jerri, tell us about your experience and specifically what you're seeing around the transition planning.
I think there's still a lot of confusion with the residents here because the transition to Gateway has taken so much longer than we expected. It was supposed to start on January 14th, and here we are over a month later and we haven't moved yet. I do see today that there are some tents out there and there's more porta potties than we have here. And I think it's going to be a very good transition for people, but I think, things that are new and unknown are always make people afraid, and I think there's a little bit of concern about that, a little bit of fear, and I think there are people who just are not going to want to transition to some place where they feel like there's any more structure than there is here.
That's such a good point. We have been speaking with individuals, and it's been a consistent theme that they are making a decision whether or not to go. It is optional for them. However, that is the next official place. How likely is it that all 400, and it maybe have grown since the last count, will make it over to Gateway?
There's no doubt they will not all make it. I've talked to people today who feel like they're still debating as to whether or not they want to go, and they want to go if no one forces them to do anything. And realistically, the point of this is to help people get out of homelessness, not to give them a place to be homeless.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think that's what everybody wants. Okay. Speaking as far as the residents, some of them just want to be. They want to continue to be invisible in one way or another.
That's interesting. Where have people been able to get information if they are interested in transitioning to alleviate some concerns or to demystify some rumors?
Well, at one point we had the outreach trailer was down at the south end of Beard Brook, and people were able to go down there and they could ask questions, they could register for their tent to transition over into Gateway, and then that stopped, and my understanding was there was some negotiation in the contract that the details were not finalized, so that was just kind of put on hold until that could be completed, and that's understandable. Except it was very confusing for the residents to have people that they could go down there and talk to, ask questions about services that are available. And I think there were quite a few people who took advantage of that, that whether they got food stamps or they got someone to help them get their Social Security or whatever the situation might have been. And now that cushion is gone, and not everybody realizes that it's going to come back when they get over to Gateway.
Oh, I see. Okay. What are elements of Beard Brook that you feel worked well that could be an element that we see again at Gateway? Are there opportunities for officials to learn from?
Things that worked well at Beard Brook? I think the fact that we as volunteers in general, not me, not any specific group, provided them with some of the things that they needed for stability, whether it was clothing or tents or bedding, some food. It gave people a chance to come to a spot and get settled, so to speak. They didn't have to worry about where they were going to sleep tonight or where they were going to sleep the next night. They had a spot, a home, so to speak, to come to every night. And I initially saw a big difference in the mood out here. The first few weeks it was more tense and people were very seclusive. And as time went on, you could see that tension lower. Even some of the people that have mental health issues seemed to calm down over time when they had their own spot to go to. So, I think that in general is very good. I think for a lot of the newly homeless people, that for them to have a place to go, because I can't even imagine if I was homeless right now and there was no Beard Brook, and I had to find a place to go and I had no family to go to. I can't even imagine what that would feel like. Right. So that part is now there's a place for the people who have homelessness for whatever reason it happens to be. There's a place for them to go.
So it sounds like Gateway is it's intentionally designed to be a transition point for people who are interested in getting out of that situation.
I think so. I mean, like I said, you can't just create a place for people to be homeless. The goal is to help them with whatever they need, whether it's services or it's housing or it's rehab or whatever it happens to be. There has to be a transitional place. And the fact that there's the outreach trailer down there is such a huge accomplishment, because as an individual, try being without transportation of any sort and have to go in 5 different directions to find the services that you need. And now that's going to be, and at least my understanding is that it's going to be there all in one spot, so that they can find out what services are available and get help, instead of not knowing and not being informed of what's available for them.
We hope that happens, and we hope it's able to help a lot more people. One additional question: what brings you out here? What inspires you to assist those who are experiencing homelessness?
What's interesting, I told someone the other day that it looks like volunteering becomes a habit, and they looked at me and laughed. And I realized when they were laughing that they were talking about me. They were laughing at me. I think it's it's hard, but yet it's rewarding at the same time. I mean, I like to come out here and be able to help people. I, as a fluke, found a job managing a mobile home park for a couple here that had been apartment managers before, and that helped them get out of the park. And that was just extremely rewarding. If I never accomplished anything else, that would have been a good thing.
Yeah. Do you anticipate being able to volunteer as you do here when the park moves to Gateway?
I know it's going to be different, and I'm not sure exactly in what way. I don't think that volunteers will have the same freedom to come and go that they have here, because I know there's going to be more structure. But like I said, at this point, I don't think any of us really know what the changes will be, because I'm not sure that the people making the changes know exactly what they're going to be for sure.
Thank you so much for your time and sharing with us.